The NBA has seen some insane trades throughout its history, with some players moving teams in shocking and unexpected ways. From superstar players being swapped for unproven talent to full-scale rebuilds, these trades have altered the landscape of the league and reshaped franchises. Some of these trades were undeniably brilliant, while others were downright disastrous. But all of them were unforgettable. So in today's video, we're going to dive into the 10 craziest trades in NBA history, exploring the impact, the shock value, and the long-lasting consequences of these moves. The Boston Celtics trade for Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, 2007. The deal. Why it's crazy. When the Boston Celtics made this trade, they were coming off a series of frustrating seasons. However, this deal would go on to shape the future of the NBA. Adding Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett to Paul Pierce created a big three that would lead Boston to the NBA championship in 2008, marking one of the most successful team makeovers in NBA history. The trade shocked the league because it wasn't just about adding stars. It was about two Hall of Famers joining forces in a desperate attempt to turn the Celtics into contenders. The Celtics gave up a lot of young talent and future assets to bring in seasoned veterans who had proven they could perform on the biggest stage. For the Timberwolves, this trade was the beginning of a dark period, as they would continue to struggle for years. For Seattle, trading away Ray Allen, one of the best shooters in NBA history, would turn out to be a mistake in the long run, even though they did manage to draft Jeff Green. This trade solidified the Celtics' position as a dynasty for the next few years. The Chicago Bulls trade for Scottie Pippen, 1987. Why it's crazy. This is one of the most underrated trades in NBA history. At the time, Scottie Pippen was an unknown rookie out of Central Arkansas, and the Bulls took a massive gamble by trading for him. What made this trade stand out was the fact that Seattle traded away a future NBA star for little more than an average player in Olden Polynice. Pippen's transformation into one of the greatest all-around players of all time, and arguably the best wingman ever, turned this trade into a stroke of genius for the Bulls. While the Sonics had no idea how good Pippen would become, the Phi Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, were able to form the most lethal duo in NBA history. Without Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan's career would have looked very different. This trade helped set the stage for Chicago's dominance during the 1990s. 3. The Los Angeles Lakers trade for Kobe Bryant, 1996. Why it's crazy. The Lakers gave up a proven veteran in Vlade Divac to secure the draft rights to Kobe Bryant from the Hornets. At the time, this trade didn't seem so shocking. Divac was an established big man, and many thought Kobe might take time to develop. What no one knew was that Kobe Bryant would go on to become one of the greatest players in NBA history. This trade became even crazier as Kobe, despite being drafted by Charlotte, was shipped to the Lakers, where he would spend his entire career and win 5 championships. Divac, meanwhile, would have a solid career, but he never came close to reaching the legacy that Kobe created in Los Angeles. This trade is crazy in retrospect, considering how Kobe turned out to be one of the most iconic players the league has ever seen. The Cleveland Cavaliers trade for LeBron James, 2014. Why it's crazy. Okay, technically this isn't a trade in the traditional sense, but LeBron James's return to the Cleveland Cavaliers after his departure to the Miami Heat in 2010 was nothing short of a transaction that changed the NBA landscape. LeBron's decision to leave Cleveland back in 2010 left fans heartbroken, and many thought it would be years before Cleveland had a championship contender again. However, in 2014, after 4 seasons in Miami, LeBron made the dramatic decision to return home. The Cavaliers now had a chance to win a championship, something they had failed to do during LeBron's first stint. In 2016, they would deliver Cleveland its first ever NBA title, in a historic comeback against the Golden State Warriors. The Sa'iwa'ira move not only brought Cleveland a title, but also reshaped the NBA's power dynamics, with LeBron leading a team in his home state to championship glory. The Brooklyn Nets trade for Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry, 2013. Why it's crazy. In 2013, the Brooklyn Nets made one of the most shocking trades in NBA history by sending a massive haul of future draft picks to Boston in exchange for the aging but still talented Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry. At the time, the Nets were trying to make a push for the playoffs, but this deal was seen as incredibly risky. The Celtics, meanwhile, started a rebuild by shedding the contracts of aging stars. The trade was meant to bring a championship window to Brooklyn, but it ended up being a huge disaster. The Nets never fully gelled as a team and didn't get past the second round of the playoffs with this roster. On the other hand, the Celtics were able to build a solid young core, eventually leading them to more success down the line. This trade was an epic fail for the Nets, as they gave up a treasure trove of assets for a team that couldn't even contend in the short run. The Dallas Mavericks trade for Dirk Nowitzki, 1998. Why it's crazy. This trade is often overlooked, but it's crazy when you consider the value of Dirk Nowitzki in hindsight. The Dallas Mavericks sent Robert Traylor to the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for the draft rights to Nowitzki, who was picked 9th overall in the 1998 NBA draft. At the time, few knew that Nowitzki would go on to become one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history. Traylor, on the other hand, didn't have much of an impact in the league. Nowitzki, however, would eventually lead the Mavericks to an NBA championship in 2011, becoming one of the most beloved players in the history of Dallas sports. This trade is one of the most lopsided deals in NBA history, especially when you factor in how Nowitzki evolved into one of the best players of his era. The Houston Rockets trade for James Harden, 2012. Why it's crazy. This trade was crazy because of how it dramatically changed the future of the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder made the decision to trade James Harden, a key member of their young Big Three with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, because they couldn't afford to re-sign him due to financial constraints. The Rockets capitalized on this opportunity, acquiring Harden and quickly making him the focal point of their franchise. Harden would go on to become one of the best players in the league, winning MVP and revolutionizing the position of shooting guard. Meanwhile, the Thunder would struggle without Harden and fail to reach the heights they had once hoped for. This trade redefined both teams' futures, with the Rockets finding their superstar and the Thunder stuck in a holding pattern. The Phoenix Suns trade for Charles Barkley, 1992. Why it's crazy. In 1992, the Phoenix Suns made a move that would elevate their franchise by acquiring one of the most dominant forwards in NBA history, Charles Barkley. Philadelphia was rebuilding, and in exchange for Barkley, the Suns gave up a solid but unspectacular package of players in Jeff Hornacek, Andrew Lang, and Tim Perry. Barkley would go on to become the face of the Suns, leading them to the NBA Finals in 1993. Though they lost to the Chicago Bulls, Barkley's impact on Phoenix was undeniable, and his addition instantly turned them into title contenders. Meanwhile, the 76ers would struggle to recover from trading away one of the best players in NBA history. The Los Angeles Lakers trade for Dwight Howard, 2012. Why it's crazy. At the time, the Lakers were hoping to add a dominant center in Dwight Howard to pair with Kobe Bryant in an attempt to win another title. The trade sent shockwaves across the league, as Howard was one of the most coveted players in the NBA. However, the trade ended up being a disaster for the Lakers, as Howard's performance didn't live up to expectations, and the team failed to make a deep playoff run. The Magic, on the other hand, would never recover from losing their superstar in Howard, and the Lakers' dream of building a championship team around him was crushed. It was a short-lived and ultimately unsuccessful partnership that only amplified the disappointment of this trade. The New York Knicks trade for Carmelo Anthony, 2011. Why it's crazy. In 2011, the New York Knicks pulled off a trade for Carmelo Anthony, hoping that adding the high-scoring forward would immediately turn them into contenders. However, in hindsight, this deal was questionable because the Knicks gave up a ton of valuable assets, including multiple draft picks and young talents like Danilo Gallinari and Wilson Chandler. The trade initially seemed like a win for the Knicks, but Melo never led them to a deep playoff run, and the team struggled for years afterward. Meanwhile, The Nuggets managed to rebuild with the players they received in the deal and performed better than many expected. There you have it, the 10 craziest trades in NBA history. Some of these deals reshaped the entire NBA, while others were catastrophic failures. But in the world of basketball, the trade market is always unpredictable, and these crazy moves serve as a reminder of how one deal can change the trajectory of a franchise. Which trade did you think was the most outrageous? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more NBA content.